One.
Hello everyone, welcome this Friday morning to Gurwin and our weekly Oneg Shabbat. Unfortunately, we have to go back to the recorded Oneg Shabbat, the video Oneg Shabbat, for hopefully just a short amount of time. It was so enjoyable to be with everyone in person the past number of weeks, but as with everything else, we will get through this as we've gone through this in the past, and we hope very shortly we'll be able to all join in person again. And for those of you who haven't been in person, you're welcome to join us in person on our weekly Oneg Shabbat every Friday, or to watch Oneg Shabbat, which is recorded on Friday, later Friday afternoon at 2:30. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Ashareis, Malachei Elyon, Mihi Melech, Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Ashareis, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Ashareis, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nile Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nile Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nile Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nile Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seizchem leShalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seizchem leShalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seizchem leShalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In this week's Torah portion, Parshas Re'eh, it discusses various topics. We have many Jewish laws. But there's one theme which Torah keeps coming back to in a few different areas, and that is the mitzvah of charity. Giving charity, doing kindness to others, not to be stingy. And in the language of giving charity, the Torah says a very unusual language. It says a person should not harden their heart and withhold money from their fellow. And many of the commentators explain that, why are we talking about hardening our heart? And they say really the concept of charity has nothing to do with the amount of money you're giving, but the way you give charity. A person can have a lot of money and they can write a big check to somebody else or some organization, and they're doing it because they sort of feel obliged to do so, but they're not doing it with their heart. They don't really want to do it, and they just do it. And although no one will ever take away the mitzvah of charity that they are performing, but certainly they are lacking in the way they're doing it. As you know, the Talmud tells us the proper way to give charity is where the person, the giver, doesn't even know who he's giving to, and the receiver doesn't know where the money is coming from. Because it's all about our heart. How much heart do we have into the commandment, into the mitzvah of charity? Are we giving people because we want them to be better off, or are we giving people because we feel we have to as an obligation? And over here the Torah teaches us an important lesson, because it doesn't matter how much charity you give, or really it doesn't matter if there's a dollar amount at all. Charity can be done in many, many different ways. Saying a good word to someone, giving a smile to someone, these are all ways of giving charity to others and helping others out. And as long as someone does it with the right mindset and a good heart in a good place, the Torah tells us that we'll get rewarded for our deeds. L'cha dahodi lekras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela. L'cha dahodi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. Ishmiyanu kelam yuchad. Hashem echad u'shmo echad. Shemo seferes v'letzila. L'cha dodi l'kras kala. Pnei Shabbos nekabela. L'kras Shabbos Gurwin Healthcare Ki hi mekor haberacha meirosh mikedem nesucha Sov maaseh b'machshavat chila lecha dodi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekavela mikdash melech ir melucha Kol mitzi mitoch ha'hafecha ravlach shevet b'yim kabacha Hu yachamol alayechem la lecha dodi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabela Hisnari me'afar kumi Livshe bigdei sefarte chami Al yar ben yishai v'salachmi Karvo el nafshigi yahala lecha dodi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabela Hisoriri Ki hiva orech kumi yori Shir daberi Kvod Adoshem alayich nigla Lecha dodi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabela Lo sei voshi v'lo sikami Ma'adish dogachi u'matami V'ho yechizu ani eyami V'nivnisa yiraltila Chadodi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabela Yamin u'smol tifrotzi Yez Hashem taharitzi Al yar ben yishai v'salachmi Karvo el nafshigi yahala lecha dodi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabela Yamin u'smol tifrotzi V'yed Hashem taharitzi Al yar ben yishai v'salachmi Karvo el nafshigi yahala Chadodi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabela. Another thing the Torah mentions about is the pilgrimage that the Jewish people do 3 times a year when there's a temple, to visit the temple. This is one of the highlights of the year for the Jewish people, as from all across the world they come and they travel to the Beis Hamikdash, to the Holy Temple, and to bring sacrifices. And this is very, very important, because not only is there a commandment to take yourselves and adults, but even children, young children, or women who have a hard time traveling, women and children are all supposed to come together as a family trip to pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Now, though it sounds very nice, we're not talking about in the years where there are cars and vans and buses and planes. There were some very, very long trips that people had to do as families. Usually a trip like this, it was uncommon for the entire family to go together for weeks at a time to travel just to see the temple. And why is this so important in our religion? And the answer to the commentaries explain as the following: that there's nothing like being the best place you could be once a year. Some people a few times a year. Some people like to visit certain areas, yearly visits, annual visits, because they know when they go to these places they get inspired, they feel good about themselves, and they just feel some connection, a greater connection to God. So God is telling us it's so important that you come and feel connected to the Jewish people as a whole, even though it's hard, even though it's difficult, and also it's not about yourself, it's about your family, giving that family experience that everyone together could experience it. Because if only the people who are able to go would make it, there'd be something lacking. And this is an important lesson for all of us, that there's nothing like doing everything together. And that's why here at Gurwin we try to include as many people as possible into Oneg Shabbat, into our services, because the more people we have, the strength we have in numbers, we make it a better and more inspiring experience for all of us. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yetir Nivra Li'es Nasa B'Chevso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'Yacharei Kechlos HaKol Levahado Yimloch Nora V'Haya V'Hove V'Yihye B'Sifara V'Echar V'Ein Sheni Hamshilo L'Hachvira V'Li Reishis V'Li Sachlis Lo Ha'oz V'Hamisra V'Hu Keli V'Chai Goali V'Tzur Chavli B'Yesara V'Hu Nisi Umanosli V'Nas Kosi B'Yom Ekra V'Yado Avkid Ruchi V'Yesishan V'Yahira V'Yimruchi V'Yasi Yado Shemli V'Lo Ira. Everyone have a great weekend, a great Shabbat. We'll see everybody next week.